Anytime I turn on the news, they remind me or they let me know that the world is ending, that everything is bad, that everything is about to go belly up, that everything is on fire, and that I need to do something about it. I need to panic, right? I need to jump out of my skin in order to avert some type of catastrophe. And if I'm not in the know, if I don't keep up with the news, if I don't keep up with the times, I'm an ignorant person that don't have any empathy for his fellow man. That's what they've conditioned a lot of people in the West to believe. They've conditioned a lot of people in the West to be paralyzed in their own skin, believing that the world around them is ending. It is a late March day here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and the weather is beautiful. I can choose personally to stay inside and sulk due to the fact that I don't have a lot of money, due to the fact that I don't have friends or influence over people's lives, right? Or I can get out here and I can enjoy this weather. I can get out here and jog and improve my body and my situation. I can make the best of the time I have here on this earth without letting these other outside influences tell me that the life that I'm living is coming to an end any day now. Okay? The reason I'm bringing this up is because in recent days, I've had conversations with a lot of people about the current state of the world, where we're going, how things are about to change, and I've been hearing this my whole life. In fact, I was one of the people that was constantly putting out information about how any day now, the world was going to end, because I was constantly being fed information. And I was wondering, why is all this information coming out? Why am I privy to know some of these diabolical plans and some of these schemes and all this? Every other week there's something new, right? Every other day there's something that I'm supposed to be afraid of, that's something I'm supposed to be an activist for, something I'm supposed to be upset about, right? And then I realized, like, that's the game. The game is to keep me afraid. The game is to keep me feeling disenfranchised or feeling like I can't find happiness because I lack material, right? And to consistently use my time here on this earth to pursue the material so that I can find some semblance of happiness here in this freaking artificial world that we live in. And I said to myself, no, right? Because if I'm going to feel fear for the rest of my life that the world's going to end, life is going to pass me by. And I see so many people going through that right now, especially now that Donald Trump is back in office and, you know, they're doing all this stuff in government. They're doing all this stuff in the news. You know, he's going to take this. He's going to take this. And I'm hearing this from people who just a few years ago wouldn't have paid attention to anything in politics. They wouldn't have paid attention to anything in the news, even regarding laws or the changes in the coming climate. And I know this because as a freaking scholar of geopolitics, of social freakopolitics, a person that has paid attention and has been a somewhat victim of the mainstream media and the narrative that the world is constantly coming to an end, I know that years ago, most people didn't pay attention to politics until these politicians made themselves into rock stars, until they made themselves into these all-important people that we have to pay attention to because they have our lives in their hand. Meanwhile, they're stealing from the pot, they're taking money, and they're fear-mongering people and trying to play us against each other. Somebody pointed out a very good point the other day by saying, I noticed that a lot of this racial talk and a lot of this animus came about right after people started pointing their ire towards Wall Street after, you know, Occupy Wall Street happened. They had to come up with a way to keep people divided. So they started to divide people by all of these like little different sections, right? And they used the internet and for people to be perpetually online for their social interactions on the internet as a tool to keep us divided and in each other's throats and in fear and feeling like we can't come out here and live in this world that provides so much to us. What is happiness to you? First off, define that. I don't think a lot of people have actually defined that. A lot of people believe that, okay, once I make a certain amount of money, once I have this certain partner on my arm, once I get this house, then I'll be happy. But what if all of a sudden you was to obtain all those things tomorrow? Do you think that's going to bring you internal happiness? Because happiness comes from inside. Now, I'm not sitting up here saying that having money and having some place to go it was going to make you a lot happier than being out here on the fucking streets or having to beg for money or having to worry about bills or not knowing where your next meal's going to come from. Yeah, money will make selling through this life a lot easier, but it's not going to fill that void in your heart. It's just not. And I know people right now who've been stuck in the same position they've been stuck in for the last 10, 15 years because they choose not to face the internal demons that's in them and say, what is really happiness for me? What will really make me happy? Is it a person? Is another person going to make me happy? Because when I had another person, to whatever denomination or to whatever capacity, I still wasn't completely happy on the inside. I still had all this fear and doubt that this person was going to leave me or that I wasn't enough, because that void is still there. That hadn't been filled by that person. It still hasn't. So that person is still perpetually in the same fucking place that person has been in for the last 10 years, trying to pursue happiness because they haven't even defined what that goal is for them. Honestly, what is it? What will make you happy? And I'm telling you, if you're relying on another person or something or the government or some entity to come in and make you happy, you're never gonna find it in this world. People have been saying constantly, this world is worse than it's ever been. Not true. Not necessarily true. I feel, especially here in America, have more freedom to do whatever the fuck we want to do than at any other time in the world. I'm not saying that we're free of consequences. I'm not saying that we're free of the fucking boogeyman putting us on our back and making it hard for us to go through this world. I'm not saying that those things don't exist. I'm not saying that, because people oftentimes take this type of talk as being dismissive of people's struggles and stuff, and that's not what I'm doing. What I'm saying is, despite all those things, you still have to navigate through that fog and find some semblance of happiness for your fucking self. Nobody's going to do it for you. No amount of money's going to come into your lap that's going to make you feel better. You know, how many people have you seen? Oh, this person has won the lottery, and then they lose all this money, and then they're back to square one right again. That money didn't make them happy. That money made them temporarily content. Maybe they were able to satiate some of their vices in the short term, but in the long term, they didn't feel no void in their heart to find what happiness is for them. What is happiness, and where can you find it? For me, happiness is in freedom. Happiness is being able to make a choice on whether I want to go left or whether I want to go right, and having that ability to do so. Having the ability to be conscious that I am healthy in my body at 42 years old, where I could be laid up somewhere, wishing that I was able to use my legs, wishing that I was able to be out here and breathe the air freely as I am today, to be able to jog and stuff. I don't need a lot of money to be rich, knowing that there are people with billions of dollars that wish they could be in the same position that I am today, just being able to absorb the air with their own lungs, beat the blood through their veins with their own heart. You know what I'm saying? Walk on their own 2 feet. I understand that. I get that, right? But a lot of people struggle with finding happiness. What is happiness? The reason so many people struggle with that, because we here in the Western world have been conditioned to tie our happiness to material gains. And so many of us lack material that a lot of times we feel that happiness is not obtainable because the material is not within our reach. Material comes and goes, right? It comes, it goes, right? You can obtain riches, you can lose riches. But who are you as a person? Who are you as an entity?